All right, everybody, good evening to you. It is Tuesday, March 7th. I'm Savannah Louie at the Atlanta News First Alert Desk, and we're going to start off right away with some breaking news. I'm going to go ahead and throw up this image here so you can kind of tell what's going on. This is just into our newsroom. Officials have captured officials have captured an escaped inmate. This literally just into our newsroom moments ago. We're told William Knight was in Baldwin State Prison for involuntary manslaughter and possession of marijuana. Now officials are saying that man who had run away, escaped authorities, is now behind bars. You can see here he was captured in Washington County. The sheriff's office releasing images of that capture here on your screen. You can see they also say more information still to come. So we are still waiting to get details on what exactly happened. If you want to read this story for yourself, we have it right here on AtlantaNewsFirst.com. Again, this is a Georgia inmate. He was previously on the run after leaving his work detail in Hardwick. This first happened just a couple of days ago. William Knight was in Baldwin State Prison, again, for involuntary manslaughter and possession of marijuana. He was last seen driving a gray Toyota Corolla, but again, you see these pictures here. That escaped inmate is now behind bars. We're going to have much more on this in the evening as we learn some of those new details from authorities. Again, this is out of Washington County here in Georgia, and a story that we've been following for a couple of days now. All right, now I want to move on to some of the other major stories that we're covering today. This story I think will be interesting for anyone, especially families who have kids out there. And it all has to do with where your kids go to school. So Georgia is considering vouchers for private schools. This means that your taxpayer dollars could soon be used to help children go to private school. It's pretty new controversial legislation here, and it aims to send $6,000 vouchers for families who opt out of the public school system. And it's specifically for kids who go to underperforming schools or schools in the lowest 25% of the state's rating system. Supporters of the bill say it could be a lifesaver for families whose students aren't thriving in public education but can't afford private school or homeschooled learning. These kids and families would also be allowed to apply for $6,000 grants. That is much less than what a private education typically costs, but bill sponsors here say it's really a big start. Now, the issue here is that some lawmakers are saying that it takes away funding from public schools, which are already struggling with performance. Again, only students in the attendance zones of that bottom performing 25% of public schools would be able to apply for this. If you're curious about how this is playing out across the country, I can tell you we've already seen voucher legislation like this in other states. This vote that was occurring today amongst the Georgia lawmakers was purely along party lines. Now, this school voucher legislation has been introduced already in at least 10 states, including South Carolina, which is our neighbors, really. And the bill does come with an expected $200 million price tag. We're also told applications for the grants would be considered by a third-party company. This is going to be very interesting to see how it unfolds. Now, another story I want to talk to you guys about is also something that is going through law, that is being discussed by lawmakers here, and it's something that originated, I want to say, maybe a year and a half ago is really when we started seeing this issue really take root. A bill that would expand restrictions for convicted sex offenders here in Georgia is now moving forward. The Georgia Dangerous Sexual Predator Prevention Act, or you might know it as Miriam's Law, as it's being called. Well, it would require sex offenders convicted of certain offenses to wear electronic ankle monitors. It passed in the State House last night, and now it heads over to the Senate. And this all comes after an Atlanta News First investigation exposed a loophole which allowed a repeat sex offender to get out of prison only to, as prosecutors say, kidnap and kill 27-year-old Mariam Abdul-Rab on her way home from work. So again, this is something that is going to be considered now as we look forward to how this is going to play out here. Third story I want to bring you guys all has to do with a national story that has some serious roots here in the Atlanta area. If you've been following along with the news or maybe even seen on social media as well, you've probably heard a lot about the train derailments happening up north. Well, Norfolk Southern, part of that really upsetting images here you can see on your screen. Now a federal investigation will be conducted into Norfolk Southern. Again, that's an Atlanta-based railroad company now responsible for 2 train derailments in Ohio. It all comes as the company says it's addressing the issue with a 6-point plan focused on boosting safety. This includes things like enhancing the hot bearing detectors, which can trigger an alarm if potential failure or high temperatures are detected. Now, I do want to mention no one was hurt in that second derailment, which happened, again, less than a month this past Saturday. But the National Transportation Safety Board is now looking into the one in East Palestine, Ohio. Meantime, the Environmental Protection Agency says the removal of contaminated soil in East Palestine began Saturday, and it could take up to 2 months to complete. It's going to be a very lengthy and very thorough investigation as we look towards how this happened and what their safety protocols are. It'll also be interesting to see how Norfolk Southern addresses this huge issue, which again, national news, but really with that Atlanta tie. All right, and the final story I want to bring you guys tonight, we're going to leave you guys on a good note here, and something that I know all of us at Atlanta News First are very, very proud of here. This is video from earlier today. This is from a school over in Lawrenceville in Gwinnett County. Very special surprise for these children. Dozens of young students here, all thanks to Atlanta News First Books to Kids program. Students at Lawrenceville Elementary got a bag. You can see it was full of free books and a bunch of other supplies. Over the last 6 years, we've given out more than 69,000 books all throughout Metro Atlanta, and the goal here is to help students enhance their reading skills. I know for a lot of us who work in this industry, reading is just so important. Now today, we are adding more than 3,000 books to that total, putting the final number over 70,000. And I mean here, of course you can see the kids on your screen, but maybe we'll get to another larger shot. Yeah, I know that we showed images earlier of some of our talented staff and wonderful staff hanging out with the kids, reading to the kids, even dancing with the kids. And here you can see our staff up there sitting in a line up here. Alan Devlin, Rick Fulbaum in one of those, Sean Gables in the back there, Rodney Harris, Tracy Hutchins. A lot of fun today I know was had. All the anchors came back and they were talking all about how much fun they had and how good it is to be able to give back and to interact with those students. Kids are always a hoot, aren't they? All right, guys, well, thank you so much for joining me today. I'm going to send you out with a picture of our beautiful Atlanta Metro skyline here. And on that note, I'm out, but I'm leaving you in very good hands. We have meteorologist Patrick Pete with a look at our forecast. And Patrick, I mean, it really doesn't get better than it was today. The weather was just beautiful.
It was fantastic indeed, Savannah. We had lots of sunshine. Temperatures actually flirted with record highs. I think we were shy by about 1 degree, but it was awesome to be out and about. The pollen was a little bit of a hiccup. My car had a nice little coating of it out there when I stepped outside this morning, thankfully. There's some rain in the forecast as we head through the next couple of days. We're talking about light to moderate showers in the cards for us as we head through parts of your Thursday. But then we're really watching some of the evening hours for that rain to increase. So I'm going to switch over for 1 second. I think that we're trying something different here. There we go. First alert for your Friday, as morning showers are going to be in the cards as you get out of the door. It's going to be a bit messy, but the second half of the day is actually going to dry out. But we're tracking another first alert for Sunday, as not only are we going to be dealing with cooler temperatures, we're going to be dealing with the cloudy skies, damp conditions. It's going to be rainy as well through a large chunk of the day, so you're going to want to at least be weather aware. But things are pretty quiet out now, right now on satellite and radar. We're talking about temperatures that are going to gradually cool as we head through the overnight hours. And we're talking about rain chances that are going to trickle in as we head late day. So we're talking about showers moving in roughly at around midnight from northwest to southeast. Stepping outside tomorrow morning, I am expecting a mix of sun and clouds with chilly temperatures. We're talking about numbers that are going to be in the upper 40s for parts of the day, and expecting those numbers to gradually climb as we head into the afternoon into the lower 60s. Going to make it a pretty nice afternoon to go for a nice run outdoors. And then as we head into the evening hours, your wind down Wednesday forecast has us comfortably in the low 60s through about 7 o'clock. The clouds thicken up, and we are going to be tracking a few sprinkles. But all in all, not a bad forecast for your Wednesday. Thursday is where we expect those rain chances to return to the forecast, but we're not expecting overwhelming rain, and we're expecting the first part of the day to actually be kind of nice and dry with numbers in the low 50s, gradually climbing into the upper 50s, where we will struggle to get into the low 60s through the afternoon as rain starts to build into the region. Rain chances increase as we head into the evening, so I think that some showers are going to be present as some folks are making their way home from work. And waves of rain are going to be in the forecast as we head through the overnight hours, increasing into Friday. This is actually a look at that cold front that's going to slide through on Friday. Rain chances are going to increase mainly for the morning and then clear out, so that first alert in the forecast for your morning commute on Friday. Saturday is going to be mainly dry. I know lots of you are looking at going to the Atlanta St. Patrick's Day Parade. It is going to be a little bit chilly for the start of the parade, but we'll get into the low 60s for a couple of hours in the afternoon before we see rain chances return yet again on Sunday, which is going to be our other first alert in the forecast. And then rain's going to linger into Monday morning before we see things cool out a little bit. So all eyes to Saturday, because that's going to be our best day in the weekend forecast. Tomorrow's going to be in the mid 60s, so a little bit cooler than we dealt with today by roughly 10 degrees or so. And then those rain chances increase Thursday into Friday. So lots of work to be done, folks. We're going to be hard at work behind the scenes gathering the latest information for you, not only in the news department, but of course going through the latest weather data, giving you that best hour-by-hour forecast at 9, 10, and 11. I am going to leave you with the 7-day forecast, and we will see you tonight.